Hey y'all, so this is supposed to be my Virgo reading. It's still a Virgo reading, but as I was preparing, which I've been doing for a couple days now because I had to schedule this, literally schedule this, as I was preparing, I kept hearing Libra and September. So I apologize, Virgo, if this offends any of you, but I am going to expand this to include Libra, particularly September Libras, but I don't know if that is fixed, if that's set in stone, because it could very well just be that Libra in September is a message for Virgo, okay? So take it with a grain of salt, twist it and turn it however you need to. I feel like it's going to be different, obviously, for everyone, but I feel like maybe there's just one Libra, right, who needs to be pulled in. Interesting. My choice of words is interesting me at the moment, but I'm not going to overanalyze it. Okay, losing my voice. Here we go. Welcome to the ride. So with that being said, to my returning Virgos, thank you for your patience. I know it's been a long time, way longer than I expected that it took me to get this out to you. And I did sit on it for a while because the energy I was channeling made me feel compelled to. I feel like, I don't know, there was something in it that needed a pause, that needed a waiting period, an incubation period. I don't know what any of that means. But I'm not going to go too off the rails right here, right now. I'm just going to tell you what I have thus far. So let's kind of go backwards a little bit. As I was getting ready, once again, as I was opening up and getting ready to come film this, things just started flooding in, okay? I was smelling smoke. I don't smoke. I smelled cigarette smoke. No one in my vicinity that I know of smokes. There should be no reason why I should be smelling smoke in my bedroom, right? So that could mean something. Maybe you're dealing with someone who smokes. Maybe you smoke. There could be, I feel very strongly, and this is very interesting to me, I feel very strongly that this could be a guide coming through. Sorry. I get emotional when we deal with direct spirit messages. So let me just feel that out for a second. I'm just going to leave it there. Something emotional in that, okay? Yeah, so it could be a guide of yours, yours, who smoked, okay? That might mean something to you. Anyway, and the other thing, I had to fix my nail. My nails are about on their last leg. They need a refresh here. These were my New Year's nails and they're done. So I had to fix it. I was using a little adhesive, all right? And for some reason, that was like replaying in my head. I know that sounds crazy. I know everything I say probably sounds crazy to some of you, but adhesive, something stuck. So I played along. I went down that path because I'm about to come here, and that felt interesting to me. So I think this is something about something stuck to you, okay? And so when I opened up to that, I basically was feeling that this could be a scar or a tattoo, or I felt pretty tactile, like something in the real world. I feel really slow right now. Like this is not my normal. Maybe it's Mars and Mercury. But those who know me know that usually I'm pretty, I'm not so hesitant normally. And maybe it's not coming across, but I feel it. Okay. Reel it in. So anyway, I'm just going to translate that the way I feel it. I feel like there's some sort of token, some sort of tattoo, some sort of scar. I mean, it could be like really literally something on your body, but it could also be in your body, right? Like some scar, a metaphoric. It could be. And the whole point there, I feel, is that something needs to be revisited, I guess. There's something that you might want to look at again or think about. What is the word I'm looking for? I keep hearing reconsider. That's not the word I want, but okay, reconsider. I'll say it. Reflect. You might want to reflect. Sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me. You might want to reflect on something, if that makes any sense to you. If you have a scar from something, I feel like this is going to be like an injury of some significance, a significant moment in your life, or a tattoo that you purposely got for a specific reason, that's tied to a situation, or maybe it's a person. I feel like it's more of an experience, an emotion. Okay, so you might want to look at that. Okay, so let's move on, and it might come out in this reading. Okay, everything I'm saying right now might come out in this reading. And or it's just something to probe you to stay here and listen to me babble about, right? Anyway, so that just happened within the last, I don't know, 15-20 minutes. Prior to that, though, I did obviously meditate on Virgo energy. Okay, this is meant for Virgo, and I apologize if you're a Libra watching this and you feel left out, but this is supposed to be for Virgo. I am going to include you, though. So, I mean, September, right? Virgo ends in September. Libra starts in September. So it does make sense to me that the energy could be like expansive, right? The experiences could be expansive. Things happen in cycles. The planets move in cycles through planets, right? So what's in Virgo is now in Libra, blah, blah, blah. What, you know what I mean? It works like that. It's kind of like a line, not necessarily a straight one, but so let's move on to the vision and the song, okay? And the song, I'm going to start with the song and get it over with. The song is partially why it took me so long. I mean, it's an ego thing. It's my fault. The song is part of why I took so long to get here, because I was really hoping for some clarity, which I did get clarity, but I was hoping for another song so that I wouldn't have to just focus on this one. But here we go. Here we go. They love embarrassing me. They love putting me in uncomfortable positions. I've accepted it, I guess. Okay? The song I got was How You Remind Me by Nickelback. Okay? And I'm not lying when I say I had to look up who it was by, because I'm not a fan of Nickelback, and I had a feeling, I was like, oh gosh, is that Nickelback? So no offense if you like Nickelback, but I don't. I tend to not really like whiny dude bro music. I'm sorry, but I'll stop before I insult anyone. So, and it kept coming through the whole meditation. So the part of the song, I mean, it's basically the whole song, isn't it? Yeah. It's basically the whole song. But I'm going to read it to you anyway for emphasis, because I feel like it's all important. And I did, so I looked up heard the song, you know, whatever. And then I had a vision also that I'll tell you about in 1 second. But as soon as I read the lyrics, it felt right and I knew it was right. Okay, so very opening line is never made it as a wise man. All right, I'm doing a Virgo reading. That was my intent. The Hermit is literally the wise man in tarot. So I laughed immediately, okay? And then it says, I couldn't cut it as a poor man stealing. That reminds me of the Seven of Swords a little bit, but we'll move on. Tired of living like a blind man. Two of Swords, Libra energy. I'm sick of sight without a sense of feeling. Oh, so interesting. Okay, moving on. And this is how you remind me. This is how you remind me of what I really am. This is how you remind me of what I really am. It's not like you to say sorry. I was waiting on a different story. This time I'm mistaken for handing you a heart worth breaking. And I've been wrong. I've been down. Been to the bottom of every bottle. These 5 words in my head scream, are we having fun yet? Okay, those are the lyrics. I'm sure most of you probably know them, but I wanted to read them out loud, out of the context of the song, because that's how it rung for me the hardest, actually, because it was removed from the. Okay, moving on. So immediately as I was reflecting on the lyrics, right? One, I'm going to point it out because I know some Virgos, well, some Libras as well, who struggle with addiction, alcoholism. He says right there, I've been down to the bottom of every bottle, right? So in that case, and I'm sure most of you that I know personally have probably done some reflecting upon why that is, like, you know, why you started drinking in the first place. If you haven't, that might be something to consider, but I'm not going to dwell on that. The emphasis in a broader way here, I feel, is we're talking about, okay, either past or present. I was going to say past, but apparently it's present as well. Okay, so it doesn't really matter the timeline of this. Something in your life that reminds you of, is it what you really are? This is how you remind me of what I really, yeah, I think it's what, isn't it? I don't want to look again. It doesn't matter what you are, who you are. I feel like there's something, and I feel like this might be what we need to look at, okay? I feel like strongly that we're talking about some shadow work here. So I'll just put that out there. I feel like there's something you need to look at, past or present, that is a reminder of how you came to be where you are. I don't want to say what you really are, because I feel like that's inaccurate. I actually feel like the message is to actually disconnect from something that is reminding you of what you really are in a negative way, like dragging you back, holding you back. Okay? And this feels emotional. So I think the challenge is to reflect upon, I don't know, it feels like an elephant in the room type situation. So I feel like for a lot of you, I don't even need to like probe or give you examples, because I feel like you're going to know what this is. And it could very well be something that for whatever reason you can't necessarily delete from your life so easily. But I don't know. I'm not here to try to figure that out in this moment. But there needs to be some reevaluation, some reconsideration of it, some ties cut from it, because I do feel like it's keeping you stuck. So, how do we do that? This could be directly related to the elephant in the room that we're talking about, or this could be something else, okay? Because like, for example, right? I feel like a link here to childhood, okay? So it could be something in childhood, an experience with a parent, a relationship with a parent that is now being kind of replayed out in your current life, or maybe recent past life in another relationship, right? Because a lot of people do that, mirror the relationships that we've had. I mean, I do this without even knowing it. Like I date a lot of people for some reason that have reminded me of my mom, and most of the people I date are men, so I can't express how unattractive that ends up being when I'm looking at a dude and seeing my mom. So, and it's, I don't know, my mom and I don't have a particularly contentious relationship, so I don't know why that plays out a lot of times, but I'll get off it. I'm just giving you examples. And I'm going to leave it at that because I was going to go on another tangent, but I'll just say it. I also feel I tend to get into relationships where people want me to be their mom. And I know that sounds like a weird dynamic, but if you knew me in my life, you wouldn't think it was so weird. So just completely unappealing, right? Not sexy at all to have that sort of parent dynamic. I mean, to me, it's just, not sexy, not appealing, but somehow, you know, you accidentally end up going down that road. And I'm just giving you an example of what I think we're talking about. So reeling it in, this vision that I'm having, this situation, I feel like is more deep past, but it could be talking about the same situation that we're talking about. I don't think so. You figure it out, okay? I'm not gonna try to figure it out for you because I really don't have any idea, but it's like I want to figure it out for you. So I had this vision. This is the very first thing that came with the song. This is really weird. So we're over here in darkness and we're going through the darkness. It felt fine. But then like this, the best way I have to describe him is like Dracula, and maybe that means something to somebody. This Dracula figure appears a little menacing, a little obnoxious, not, you know, terrifying, but some sort of trickster vibe I'm getting off of this this Dracula person, right? So he kind of like lurks into my face, your face, because I'm assuming this is your perspective. So we have this Dracula character who I feel is deliberately trying to be scary, but he ducks away. We keep going. It's almost like we're on a ride. And that's just coming to me now. It's almost like we're on a ride at like an amusement park, you know, like when you go along the track, like slowly, you're in the dark. Anyway, so that's what it felt like. So we kept going. You know, the ride doesn't stop for Dracula, no matter how, you know, in our face he is, we keep going. And as we're going, I feel like we're going into the past. And then we get to this point where it's dark and I see a grave. It's a very Halloween-y vibe. It's strange. But this is what came through. So I see this grave, a headstone, and on the headstone I see a spider, a big one. And immediately I get the feeling that we're talking about something, just the symbolisms that I have tied to these, right? To these images. We're talking about something that was buried alive, okay? And that obviously it's a metaphor for something that got buried prematurely, something that we didn't explore fully. So something that was alive when we put it in a grave, okay? I don't know what it is. I don't know what that means, really, but that's what we're talking about. And then as soon as I get that, we pull away from this, whatever this is. So instead of being able to explore further what's going on here, what it was that was buried alive, we pull out like we're running away. And then I get distracted over here by this group of, I don't know, it kind of looks like fairies or angels or something. A bunch of people, children in white, and then one other character in blue. Okay, the character in blue seems to be celebrating and just having a good old time playing, whatever. So this feels very good. This is all in the light, okay, not the darkness. We're in the light now, and we're celebrating, right, with the angels and things like this. But, and that's beautiful, that's nice. But it definitely felt like a distraction, okay? And it made me think of spiritual bypassing. And I definitely think that whether or not any of these images mean anything to you or not, what they're trying to tell me is that there's a spiritual bypassing going on with something from the past that we didn't go into as deeply as we needed to, which means to me that we didn't actually learn the lesson. So there's something here that's being buried alive, 2244. And I mean, you can't just bury something alive, right? There's consequences to that. Things that are buried alive can even crawl out of the grave and come back to haunt us or whatever, to come drag us back to revisit them. And we are in Mercury retrograde right now. And hold on. I don't think that's true for everyone, so I'm not going to say it. But yeah, stop. Sorry, I'm getting some weird messages about Capricorn and permanent structures and relationships and legacies and things like this. Maybe those are some issues that are coming up. All right, so let's move on. I'm trying to keep this like outside stuff to a minimum so that we can, I mean, I'm already 23, 24 minutes in or something. So really, I mean, I think that's about it. I don't know what else to say, but I do feel like this could all be related. You know, the tattoo, the token, the scar, whatever. There's something here that, I mean, frankly, whatever it is, it's going to keep nagging until you address it. You, like I said, you can't just bury things alive. You have to go deep. You have to go into the dark. And you can't just turn around and run away when things get too scary or whatever it is. I mean, you can, but then, you know, realize that you have to go back later, right? So I think that's all I'm going to say about it. But I do feel like whatever this message is about, it's, you know, it's peeking its head back in, and we have to like look at it. So